All right, so here we are inside of Publisher. And Publisher, of course, is the home base for Justice Counts, where agencies will come to configure their metrics and also share data for them. So we wanted to walk through with you what that process looks like, what some of the options are, so you can really get a feel for how Justice Counts can work for you. So for the moment, let's pretend that I represent a prison agency and that I'm going to focus on first configuring and then sharing some data for admissions. So we would start by simply clicking into admissions and answering this basic question. Are you currently able to share any part of this metric? If I was an agency that is not able to share this metric, I could simply click no, and then when I go back to the configuration page, that metric is marked as inactive. We worked to make the metrics as feasible as possible for as many agencies as possible, but that doesn't mean that every agency is going to be able to share data for all of them, and we wanted to make it easy for agencies to focus on what they could do. Now let's assume that I am an agency that can share data on admissions. The first thing I'd want to do is say, what does admission mean to me? And I configure that here on the right side of the screen. You can see there's a definition, and then there's a description of just all types of circumstances of who might be entering my prison system. And so a lot of these make a lot of sense for my particular system. Yep, people with new sentences, a board hold. But then I start to see some that maybe don't make as much sense to me. Let's say probationers do not enter the prison system. In my state, they enter jails. I could click no on all of the probation-related admissions and make sure that it matches what I need it to. Additionally, there is a free text field if there is something that's really important about my system that's not represented in that clickable list. You could enter it here and make sure that you really are fully defining what admissions means to you. Now, once we configure what admission means, we can also select some breakdowns so we can disaggregate admissions by the most serious offense related with that admission. So again, it's very selectable. So if I only want to share data on the two most serious offense types, I can choose that. But I also, again, want to say, what does a person offense mean in my jurisdiction? And we can come over here, we can choose the default, which would help align similar definitions across agencies. Or if I really do need to customize and say, actually, we consider arson to be a person offense in my state, so I could click that on and make sure that the definition matched for me. Now let's say I'm fully configured, my definitions are feeling good and feel accurate. Now we're going to share some data. So I come over to records and I owe some data for November. And if I was manually entering data, this is where I would do it. So I could type in, 300 here. I have 300 admissions this month. 200 were for person-related offenses, 100 were for property-related offenses, and the other offense types are grayed out because I selected to not share data. I could review and publish. I could save this as a draft for someone else to look at. I could maybe phone a friend and get some help if I needed. So that's one way to publish data on admissions. I could also do a bulk upload. So I could configure a report out of my system or a query and make sure that I actually can upload all of the data all at once in one fell swoop. Nice and simple and easy. We're also working on options that would allow for more automated transfers of data so that it's even less work for agencies. Now, the last piece that we've been working on is kind of the internal view for an agency to be able to visualize their trend in a really simple way. And so if I click on admissions, I can see, look like I was having a drastic increase. Maybe I missed some months of sharing and I'm getting back on track. Now, I could look at this for a longer range of time, or I can look at it by the offense types that I've selected, either count or percentage. Again, this is just a little extra gift to agencies to help them really understand what's happening and how it's changing, and if there's something that they want to do about the trend that they're seeing.